The sky is streaked over the Moroccan coast. The depression has passed. The mists and glowering clouds are blown away, leaving the swell from the west that crashes onto the beaches, and the wind, which is still blowing. Today it's Sunday. Some anglers, but few bathers in the water close to the beach of nations between Rabat and Canitra. These aren't yet the big crowds of those fine summer days. The water is probably still too cold or too rough. Just kids crazy about football, indifferent to the ocean that is playing tough. The Moroccan coast, Atlantic version. Rock, dune, cliff, beaches, the many faces of a strip of coastline dotted with a few inlets and sheltered spots. From the Mauritanian border to Tangiers, this coastline stretches over 2,500 kilometers from the south to the north of the continent of Africa, with here and there a few improvised encampments, the duration of a biological season. This is the dotted line of the lives of the nomad fishermen who follow the fishing banks. Their world is this long, two-colored ribbon, this coast that seems so crumbling. To measure how much the coast is eroding, there are concrete posts strung out like sentinels over hundreds of kilometers. However, where erosion is concerned, the sea and the wind are not the only culprits. Here, the cliff is like an open-cast mine. Even taken by the donkey load, it's less sand to provide a rampart against the assaults of the ocean. The sand is collected by shovel for the construction industry, and it needs arms and backs to load a truck. It's a task for ants. But with 10, 100, 1,000 donkeys and trucks, what is the impact on the coast? The sea, the fields, the coast, and now the city. And in the front line is the capital, Rabat. Official, traditional, a sort of antithesis to its neighbor, the city of Saleh, a modern, active suburb whose rooflines tell you a lot about the way Moroccans live now, with a mix of satellite dishes and minarets. So you don't need to be a prophet to see that Morocco is changing, in particular along its coasts. There's a construction boom in the north, where they're building everywhere at top speed, a little like the syndrome of the neighboring Spanish coasts, with a lag of a few years. There's upheaval too in the submarine depths. This is Azila. It's here, at the foot of these ramparts, that a 1,600-kilometer underwater telephone cable ends. Its starting point? Marseille, therefore Europe. A high-speed broadband connection. Call centers with French-speaking personnel at bargain prices. It's no longer a local call in Paris, but an 0800 number in Marrakesh or Rabat. Arriving in the Straits of Gibraltar, here is Morocco at the gates of Europe. From Cape Malabata, you can see the Spanish coast quite distinctly tonight, with the city of Tarifa opposite. The rocks echo each other from one continent to another, with the biggest of them, Gibraltar, right over there. Europe seen from Africa, 15 kilometers or so as the bird flies, almost within reach. But many illusions are shattered at the gates to the strait. Today it's one of the most closely watched areas in the world, and not just for reasons of marine safety. Boats are still wrecked in the area. How many fishermen in the world can claim to be under as much observation as Moroccan fishermen and their children? Every one of their moments is scrutinized from the land, essentially from Spain. They're looking for smugglers, traffickers of all sorts, illegals and people smugglers. Tiny fishing boats, but big enough to get to the other side. Nothing in common with these gigantic container ships expected in this newly created port. The opportunity to free up the port of Tangiers, some 30 kilometers away. White Tangiers, for long a port of call for poets and writers. Tangiers today with its near 1 million inhabitants and its exponential growth. Now we're on the Moroccan Mediterranean coast. We're far from the cliffs exposed to the fury of the Atlantic and its spray. Here there are no collectors of sand, nomadic fishermen, or strawberry fields. Very soon, away from the coast, relief takes over. The highlands of the north of Morocco, where the highest mountains are over 2,000 meters. Completely covered in snow in winter. This is the Rif, a mountainous region quite apart in the north of Morocco. At an altitude of 600 meters, here is the city of Chefchaouen, surprising one with its blue and white Medina. That's for the postcards. For the rest, Chefchaouen, capital of the Rif Mountains, is also the capital of Kif, Moroccan hashish, whose fame reaches as far as Amsterdam. In the 90s, 200,000 growers lived off it, an almost intensive production. Not a single hillside without its fields of cannabis. The authorities have destroyed the fields. All of them? All we know is that Morocco remains one of the world's major exporters of hashish. And the royal road for this traffic is, of course, the sea. Decidedly nothing is simple along this coast, especially when you raise the question of enclaves. No less than 9 islands, peninsulas, or just simple rocks, flying the Spanish flag along the coast of Morocco. 70 meters long, 50 wide, 27 high. From a distance, it looks like a boat. You can even swim to it. This is the Al-Usimas rock with its garrison of 60 men. A tiny Spanish isle just 300 meters from the beaches of Morocco. Less of a caricature, there are the 3 Chafarinas Islands in the east of the country, another 3 patches of Spanish territory in Moroccan waters. The best known of these enclaves are the major cities. A border post under assault every day in Ceuta, 60,000 Spanish citizens on Moroccan soil. It's a grotesque situation, where from one side of the border to the other, the standard of living goes up by a factor of 5. Worse still in the other major Spanish enclave, Melilla, a city under siege. Here, as in Ceuta, a double wall of barbed wire and electric fences, a rampart dotted with watchtowers goes right down to the sea. Dissuasive? Every year, hundreds of candidates for illegal immigration hole up around Melilla in the hope of getting over the wall. From the heights of Mount Gurugu in Morocco, they greedily eye this odd patch of Europe on African soil. That being said, in the register of diplomatic relations, there's an even more sensitive and delicate case in the region. A little more than 500 kilometers of coast separates Tangiers from Algeria. A coast as closely watched as the Strait of Gibraltar, but not with the same means. Over there they have radar, infrared or thermal cameras. Here, it's more old-fashioned with many border patrol posts. An almost constant military presence as if in a state of war, especially towards Uja and Saidia. It's impossible to get to Algeria from Morocco. The two countries have been at daggers drawn for 14 years. "14 years since the border was closed. The situation is deadlocked, a dialogue of the deaf between the two countries. It's the longest closed border in the world.